Inside the fairy tale, Spain's Princess Leonor marries in 2025's most lavish wedding. It began as a quiet morning in Copenhagen, the kind of morning where the air itself seems to know that history is about to unfold. Across Europe, millions tuned in, expecting elegance, grace, and tradition. But what no one expected was just how deeply emotional, extravagantly detailed, and utterly human this royal moment would become. Because on that day, Princess Leonor of Spain didn't just marry her prince. She rewrote what a royal wedding could be in the modern world. For years, the world had imagined this day, the heir to Spain's crown stepping into her future, carrying centuries of history on her shoulders. Yet what unfolded in Denmark went beyond expectation. It was a fairy tale, yes, but not one written in old books. This was a new story, modern, romantic, and deeply personal. As the first images appeared, hearts stopped. Leonor emerged not as a distant royal figure, but as a young woman in love, radiant, vulnerable, and unafraid to be herself before the eyes of the world. Her gown, crafted by Spain's most celebrated designer, shimmered like morning light over the sea. It wasn't just couture, it was symbolism. Every thread told a story of unity between two nations, Spain and Denmark, tradition and progress, love and duty. The cathedral bells of Copenhagen rang as a hush fell over the square. Inside, surrounded by European royalty and global icons, the young princess walked slowly down the aisle. The moment was silent, yet somehow, the silence spoke louder than any orchestra. It was the sound of a generation watching history evolve. The whispers in the crowd weren't about protocol or status. They were about how real it all felt. The look between Leonor and her groom wasn't rehearsed. The gentle touch of their hands wasn't scripted. In that sacred instant, centuries of royal distance disappeared, replaced by something rare, authenticity. This wasn't just another royal wedding. This was a cultural shift. Behind the glamour, there were stories unseen, the months of tension in Madrid as the royal family debated every detail. The emotional moments between Queen Letizia and her daughter, captured only in fleeting glances. The careful diplomacy between Spain and Denmark to ensure that the union symbolized not just love, but also respect between two royal traditions. As the ceremony unfolded, European media erupted. Royal watchers from London to Paris described it as the most breathtaking royal event of the decade. Fashion critics called the gown the new standard for regal modernity. And yet, amid all the headlines, one thing stood out: this wasn't spectacle for spectacle's sake. It was intimate, emotional, and powerfully symbolic. Leonor's vows struck the deepest chord. She spoke softly, her voice trembling slightly, yet filled with conviction. "I stand before you not only as a princess," she said, "but as a woman who chooses love, with respect for my duty and my heart." Those words echoed far beyond the cathedral, across social media, newsrooms, and royal palaces alike. And the internet, predictably, exploded. Within hours, clips of the ceremony flooded every platform. The hashtags weren't just about fashion or royalty. They were about what people felt. The joy, the tears, the beauty of seeing two people, often treated as symbols, become human again before millions. As the newlyweds stepped onto the palace balcony, the crowd outside erupted into cheers. Spanish flags waved alongside Danish ones, merging colors of red and white, gold and blue, a living tapestry of unity. For that moment, Europe wasn't divided by borders or crowns. It was united by love. But what made this wedding the wedding of 2025 wasn't just its opulence. It was the deeper meaning beneath every moment. Take the choice of music. Leonor insisted on including a Spanish guitar ensemble to play alongside the Danish Royal Orchestra, a fusion of cultures that stunned the audience. Even the floral arrangements, made from roses imported from both Madrid and Copenhagen, represented the merging of two worlds. And then there was her mother, Queen Letizia, visibly emotional, her eyes glistening as she watched her daughter ascend into her own destiny. For a moment, cameras caught her whispering something to King Felipe. Lip readers believe she said, "We raised her for this." The reception that followed was unlike any royal celebration in decades. Gone were the stiff formalities of old. Instead, it was a dazzling yet heartfelt gathering filled with laughter, music, and moments of genuine connection. Even the seating chart, normally a symbol of strict hierarchy, was changed at Leonor's request to allow family and friends to mingle freely. Behind the scenes, fashion experts were already calling her dress the new royal benchmark. The combination of classic Spanish tailoring and minimalist Nordic design had designers scrambling to reinterpret it for their 2025 collections. Within hours, luxury brands from Paris to Milan were announcing the Leonor line, bridal gowns inspired by her look. Yet beneath the headlines and high fashion, something more profound was happening. Princess Leonor had quietly transformed the image of European royalty. No longer distant, no longer untouchable, she had shown that a royal could be modern, could love, could feel, and could lead by example. And as the night deepened, a single moment stood out above all. The newlyweds, standing on the grand staircase of Amalienburg Palace, looked up as fireworks painted the sky in red and gold, Spain's colors. Then, softly, blue lights glimmered across the horizon, Denmark's tribute. It was more than a celebration. It was history written in light. Throughout Europe, television anchors struggled to describe what they'd witnessed. Some called it a fairy tale reborn. Others said it was a love story that gave royalty its heart back. But perhaps the most moving reactions came from ordinary viewers, people who felt, even for a moment, that love really could bridge nations, that duty and emotion could coexist, that tradition could evolve without losing its soul. The following morning, Spain woke to headlines of pride. Nuestra princesa, our princess, read one. Across Denmark, newspapers praised the union as a royal chapter for the modern world. But amid all the applause, one truth stood quietly at the center: Princess Leonor had done something rare. She had turned a royal wedding into a message. A message that love, when guided by respect and courage, can be more powerful than protocol. That in a world too often divided, unity can still feel timeless. And so, as the carriages faded into the Danish night and the candles dimmed in the palace hall, one image remained: Leonor, standing beside her husband, smiling softly. Not as a princess defined by duty, but as a woman defined by love, grace, and the power to inspire a new generation. This was not just a royal wedding. It was the rebirth of what a fairy tale means in the modern world, one where love and leadership walk hand in hand. And the world, once again, fell in love with royalty.